The state of travel for business. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from the Global Rescue Companies is CEO Dan Richards. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Fred.
Great to see you. First off, let's get a bit of background about the company Global Rescue.
So we're about a 20-year-old organization that provides medical security, evacuation, crisis response, and travel risk management services around the world, really to three sets of constituents: to individuals and families, to enterprises, so organizations big and small that have travel risk exposure, and then to governments and government agencies.
Describe the need that you're filling there. Why is there a need for something like this?
Well, it probably goes without saying that the world, unfortunately, is not, by all accounts, becoming a kinder and gentler place. And so individuals who want to travel or families who want to travel, they basically want a plan B. We're like the red button you push. We sell a membership to the consumer where if you have a medical or security emergency anywhere in the world, we'll deploy medical personnel, paramedics, nurses, doctors, or on the security side, mostly former military, special operations personnel, to pull you out of wherever it is that you are, get you the care that you need, get you to safety, and ultimately to get you home. There's also a need for enterprises to take care of their personnel and manage the risk that confronts those personnel when they travel, primarily for business purposes around the world. So there's this duty of care that organizations have to their employees, and we help them fill that need.
Interesting. Well, you have done a survey about travel and travel plans. Tell us about some of the findings and what we're looking at here. We all know about the huge disruption that the pandemic caused.
Yeah, we typically do several surveys a year, and our most recent one came out here at the end of August. And what we've discovered is that the majority of people, in fact, the vast majority of people, expect their travel for business to be either at the same level or to increase versus the same period last year. So about 82% actually intend to travel more or the same. Of that breaks down to about a little more than a quarter, 27% actually expect the increase to happen versus about 18% who expect there to be a decrease in business-related travel. So, we've seen travel numbers ticking up, obviously, pretty aggressively since the pandemic, particularly when you look at the TSA numbers. Those numbers continue to ramp pretty substantially. But a lot of business travel has, in many sectors, yet to recover. And what we're seeing now, I think, is more sustained recovery, actually, for the business and enterprise travel segment, which is obviously great. The consumer segment continued, and the channel segments continue to be very, very strong, well eclipsing 2023 and 2022, and even 2019, which obviously was the last year before the pandemic. But business had yet to recover. We're now seeing strong growth in business as well, and we expect that to continue.
At the same time, are many businesses still utilizing the technologies that they pretty much discovered, many of them during the pandemic, that allow them to hold meetings remotely, really from anywhere?
Yeah, most of us obviously didn't have a choice during the pandemic. If we wanted to continue doing business and meeting with our colleagues, the only way was to use some kind of a virtual enabler for these types of meetings and conversations. And so, we were forced into it, and many of us, just as we are right now, are never going back. So we're going to continue using it. It's a force multiplier for sure, and it definitely helps reduce the wear and tear on people that used to have to travel very frequently just to get in front of, let's say, their colleagues in satellite offices. Today now, though, it's much more of a hybrid kind of environment where some meetings will be virtual, some will be in person, some will be, some kind of combination of two, where you have some of the people who are attending the meeting in person and some of them who are virtual. It really just depends. And it's great because, at least when you look at our business, we've got people stationed all over the world. We can have face-to-face meetings and pipe in people from the other side of the globe and have them be part of the meeting in more than just a voice. You can actually, provided that they're awake, given some of the time distance, challenges, have them be part of the meeting, which can be very effective.
And the companies can be more selective as to when they should spend the money and the effort to
That's for sure.
physically
And
do
you know,
something.
you look at travel costs today, and the travel industry has certainly not been immune to the worldwide inflation epidemic that's been happening. And so hotel costs and airline prices and rental cars, they're all more expensive today than they were, 4 years ago prior to the pandemic. Unfortunately, those costs continue to go up. Some markets have seen some decreases, but a lot of these markets are still very expensive. In fact, when you look at airline tickets, some of the airline tickets out there for coach class seating is comparable to what business class seating was prior to the inflationary period that we've entered. So costs are not our friend, and businesses do not want to go back to the old days where their travel and expense budgets were as high as they were, and so they're using these other mechanisms to help bring them down. Now that said, there's certainly instances where there's no substitute for being with another human being in the same conference room and meeting with them in person. So the first, they like to say the first sale you lose by not being there will be the last sale you lose by not being there, because then you're going to get on an airplane and you're going to go see the client or the prospect or whoever. So I think it's a combination of those factors that are driving our current environment.
And then there's the personal travel that can get combined with business travel. So, I might want to go on this business trip because I can go somewhere else right after.
That's for sure. This category that you're describing, which has emerged as a result of the pandemic and the emergence of this technology, is leisure, with a B tacked on in front of leisure. So somebody will go somewhere for a business trip and then decide, I'm going to spend another few days, a weekend, sometimes even a week or multiple weeks tacked on to the end of that business trip and stay there or travel around and do some work and some play and some leisure and some business. And so it's this blending of, the composition of these trips that really has been a big driver, actually, post-COVID in the recovery. Sometimes it's hard to disentangle what's business and what's leisure because they are so intertwined, but we're definitely seeing big growth in that segment as well.
I guess because the technology can enable you to work even when you're anywhere today, basically. And are we still seeing a lot of that? I mean, during the pandemic, we heard about people who were going to far off beaches and other places and they would just park there so that they could work from there.
We're definitely seeing that. And, the world technology continues to shrink, the geography of the world, and the places that we can go and still be connected continue to expand. So, today we have satellite connection capability that, far surpasses where we were 5 years ago. When you look at, just for instance, to pick on Elon Musk and Starlink. I mean, Starlink in the last 5 years has just exploded and provided connectivity from all sorts of places around the world that didn't really have significant bandwidth, before they launched that company. You're seeing the cell phone companies, you're seeing Apple and others starting to get into the satellite telephony and connectivity business. Stay tuned for that over the next few years. That is going to, I think, expand exponentially. And when you can connect, obviously, that means that you can do so from a lot of different, more remote, more far-flung places. So if you have the ability to connect, and then you have the software that can, virtually put you in a meeting room with people, it allows you to go a lot of different places and be very flexible with your work environment.
Where can people go for more info and learn more about your company as well as the survey?
Sure. www.globalrescue.com is our website. And you can also call us at 800-381-9754 and talk to a member server. If you're interested in membership, they're surprisingly affordable. Start at about $159, and we have the ability to enroll individuals, families, groups, or if you have a company that has employees that travel frequently, then we have the ability to help you meet your duty of care to those folks as well.
I guess very often people can learn the hard way that the medical coverage they thought they had back home doesn't apply over there.
Yeah, there's two major components there. Obviously, there's your wallet, so the financial protection that you would need because of, a medevac or a security extraction from one of these places can cost tens or even hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, depending on where you are and what's going on. So they do sometimes learn that the hard way, but often more important, not that money's not important, is the life and limb and the survivability of these kinds of events. And that's really what we specialize in, is helping people avoid these sorts of circumstances. But if they can't avoid them and something does happen, then deploying the resources, the cavalry, if you will, to get them out of that circumstance and get them to the care that they need or a safe location, or ultimately, at the end of the day, home, which is where everybody wants to go.
Terrific. Well, congratulations on the innovations there. Dan Richards, thank you so much for spending time with us.
My great pleasure. Have a great day.